"You're obstructing an emergency inspection." That's what she screamed at me over a patch of lawn that barely grazed 4 inches. Like I'd committed a federal crime and not just let my grass do what grass does when you work 60-hour weeks. I hadn't even set the mower down when she whipped out her phone, thumb hovering over 911 like she was reporting a hostage crisis. You ever see a neighbor dial 911 with that much confidence? Let me tell you, the real shock wasn't the call. It was the voice that picked up, steady, professional, but weirdly familiar. Almost like fate was sitting back with popcorn, ready to see how this mess unraveled. That's how my Saturday started. Supposed to be peaceful, right? But here I am, Marcus Williams, standing in my own front yard holding a mower in one hand, feeling my dignity slip with every word out of Rebecca Turner's mouth. She's the HOA president, and apparently 7 a.m. is prime time for emergency inspections. She shows up with that navy blazer and a shiny red whistle, looking like she's about to coordinate a SWAT raid, clipboard tucked under her arm. "Your grass exceeds neighborhood rules by at least 2 inches, she declares, practically measuring with her eyes. "I'm here to record violations." She plants herself like she owns the zip code. I look down at my grass, 3.5 inches, tops. Sure, it's a little wild, but not apocalypse level. I was buried under deadlines all week, and Saturdays when I catch up. "Rebecca, don't you need to give written notice before you come poking around?" I ask, but she just waves the clipboard, like rules are suggestions, and she's the one who decides when to follow them. Urgent situations override procedures. This is a safety concern. She says safety like I've been harboring tigers, not fescue. It's not even what she's saying that gets under my skin. It's how she says it, that smug little tilt of her head, the undertone that suggests people like me just don't get what's expected around here. "Look," I say, still holding the mower. "Give me 20 minutes, and the grass'll be a memory." Seems reasonable, right? But she's already shaking her head. She's not here for reasonable. She's here for confrontation, for documentation, for some record of my supposed noncompliance. She wants the violation now. She wants to measure, photograph, write it all down. I can see where this is going, so I stand my ground. "You're not coming onto my property without proper notice." That's not how this works. Suddenly the fence between us feels like a line in the sand, and she's all too ready to step over it. Her fake smile drops. "Then I'll have to escalate this to city responders. You're refusing to meet safety standards, and that requires intervention." And just like that, she's dialing 911. I can't believe it. I say, "You can't be serious." But one look at her tells me she's absolutely serious. This is a woman who believes her own press. The phone rings. I hear it through the speaker, loud, jarring in the quiet morning. 911, what's your emergency? That voice, why does it ring a bell? Calm, professional, but something about it digs at my memory. Rebecca goes full title drop. This is Rebecca Turner, president of Meadowbrook Hills HOA. I need urgent response for a safety violation. She starts reciting my address, making my grass sound like a biohazard. The operator tries to clarify, are there injuries? Is there a real threat? Rebecca doesn't miss a beat, talking about property maintenance violations threatening neighborhood welfare. I want to laugh and scream at the same time. The operator finally says, "I'll dispatch an officer to assess the situation." You can almost hear the eye roll. Rebecca hangs up, starts snapping pictures of my lawn. Click, 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 like she's gathering evidence for a true crime documentary. 10 minutes later, a patrol car glides up. Officer Davis gets out, looking tired in a way only people who deal with real emergencies can look. He talks to Rebecca first, listens to her recite my crimes against grass, then turns to me. "Ma'am, this appears to be an HOA dispute, not an urgent situation. You need to provide written notice for inspections. That's standard procedure." Rebecca's mask slips, just a second of doubt. Then she tries to push the emergency angle again. But Officer Davis isn't having it. "This is your third call this month, Mrs. Turner. 911 is for actual crises. HOA disputes go through proper channels." He says it like he's said it before, which, it turns out, he has. This isn't just about me. It's a pattern. I'm just the latest target. Davis turns to me. "You don't have to allow inspection without proper notice. If you have concerns about HOA procedures, file a complaint with the city." And just like that, the cavalry leaves. Rebecca storms off, red whistle swinging. But I know she's not done. Later, My wife Sarah comes home from her shift. She's a 911 operator. She's tired, the kind of tired you feel in your bones. Rough night. I ask. She says, somebody called 911 about a lawn height emergency. Sometimes I wonder what people think emergency services are for. The voice, her voice. That's who picked up Rebecca's call. Monday. I'm barely awake when the doorbell goes off. Officer Davis is back, this time with a city code officer and enough paperwork to wallpaper a house. Turns out, Rebecca filed 22 false reports in 2 days. Electrical, fire safety, the works. Davis hands me a pile of citations. We've got records of systematic harassment and abuse of city services. They go through my house, find everything up to code, and make a note. False complaint, officially. Sarah later tells me, I've intercepted her financial paperwork, fines, fees, all fabricated. Rebecca's trying to file a fraudulent lien against my property. Now it's not just harassment, it's wire fraud. We shift from defense to offense. I overhear Rebecca ranting to Mrs. Henderson across the street. She says things like families that don't fit our established profile and require more guidance. It's code, and Mrs. Henderson hears it too. I realize this isn't about grass, it's about who gets to belong. Sarah's building a case. She documents everything. Meanwhile, Rebecca goes online, posts propaganda about neighborhood safety, paints my perfectly normal house as some sort of threat. The comments section splits. Some people see through it, others buy in. But then Luke Martinez, a neighbor, points out the pattern. Why does she only target minority residents? Turns out, the last family in my house was Latino. Before them, an Asian family. I'm Black. This isn't random, it's systematic. One afternoon, I catch Rebecca coaching Tom Wilson, a newer neighbor. Just say neighborhood hazard when you call. They respond faster. She's teaching people how to fake emergencies. I record the conversation, send it to Sarah. Now we have proof she's orchestrating a network of false reports. Rebecca ramps up her campaign, starts involving the kids, teaching them to spot unsafe houses based on grass, decorations, who waves, and who doesn't. At the children's parade, I hear a kid say, "That's the dangerous house." Another mom tries to set it straight, but the story is out. Later, I watch as Rebecca hosts a neighborhood awareness presentation, handing out materials, using photos of my house as the example of what not to be. Janet Walsh asks, "Are these actual hazards or just HOA preferences?" Rebecca dodges, but parents are getting uneasy. That evening, Sarah gets word. The DA is moving forward. Fraud, harassment, misuse of emergency services, the whole works. And then comes the big scene at the community center. The kids, performing their community safety skit, start parroting Rebecca's scripts about calling 911 for HOA violations. Parents sit in stunned silence. Sarah stands up and, with that 911 operator voice, tells everyone what's really been going on. 15 false emergency calls, all from Rebecca's house, all systematic. Officer Davis is there. He serves Rebecca a citation and announces an ongoing criminal investigation. Parents come forward with their own recordings, their own stories. The tide turns. Finally, people see her for what she is. Weeks later, I watch Rebecca pack a moving truck. She pled guilty. Abuse of emergency services, fraud, harassment. The judge banned her from HOA positions for life. She's gone, the red whistle abandoned on her porch like a busted badge. The neighborhood is quieter, lighter, relieved. Luke Martinez steps in as interim HOA president. First act, real procedures, real notice, real appeals, no emergency lines for lawn drama. Sarah helps launch a real emergency education program for the kids. Officer Davis stops by, off-duty, at our first community barbecue in ages. The new neighbors? They get cookies from Mrs. Henderson, info from Janet Walsh, and zero intimidation. You can almost hear the relief in the way people talk. No more dangerous houses, just neighbors. 2 years later, there's no more red whistle. Just kids playing, people waving, and a neighborhood that finally knows the difference between authority and intimidation, between real community and someone's private vendetta dressed up as rules. Turns out, when you let people breathe, they remember how to be neighbors again. So, if you've ever watched someone confuse emergency services with personal customer support, yeah, that happened. The lesson? Power shows who you are when no one's watching. If this story hits close to home, tell me what you'd do differently. Comment below. Where do you stand on HOA power, community standards, and neighbors who can't mind their own business? Because trust me, sometimes the only way out is to keep your receipts and your grass just short enough to keep the peace.